Name is Alan Barkstrom, Chairman of the committee representing District 8. And the first order of business will be to take the roll call.
Good morning, Alan Barkstrom,
Here?
Michelle Drobnik.
Here.
Doug Erickson,
Here.
Jason Hastings.
He's excused.
I'm here.
Oh,
Are you here?
I'm here.
Okay.
right, and Robert Kopish. Larry Mabes,
Here.
Rachel Hoffman.
Okay, we will be having hearings this morning, and if you are inclined to speak at the hearing, you should go up to that microphone, state who you are, name and address. And when your comments, you should be addressed to the board, and you will be allowed 3 minutes. Okay, so is there any public comments this morning? If you're online, if you *6 to unmute yourself. Any public comments? Okay, hearing none. Any communications from any member of the committee? Okay, hearing none. We'll open the public hearing, which time is 9:01. And the first hearing is a special exceptions permit filed by Steve and Sylvia Kerner for the purpose of building a garage 42 feet to the center line of Bass Lake Lane on property located within part of the west half of the northwest quarter, section 3, township 37 north, range 1 east, town of Worcester. Fire number is N9719 Bass Lake Lane.
Letters of notification were sent to Gerald Schmeiser, John and Carol Johnson, Shirley Eckert, Gerald and Sarah Laney, Justin Eckert, Stephen and Sylvia Kerner, Jason Hertling, Linda and Daniel Ludwig, Town of Worcester, Clerk Regina Damjanovic.
Did you hear from
Any
anybody?
responses?
We did not receive any responses.
Okay. Is there any questions from any members of the committee? All right, the time is 9:03. I'll close the hearing, the public hearing. And we'll move on to agenda item number 2, which is the decision on special exceptions permit filed by Steve and Sylvia Kerner.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion Kopish to approve. Do I
I'll
hear a
second.
second? Second by Michelle Drobnik. Any discussion? Okay, we'll vote on the motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
We heard you, Jason. Okay, the time is 9:04. And agenda item number 3 is a special exceptions permit filed by Patrick and Deborah Moonen for the purpose of placing a camper 40 feet to the center line of Woody Road on property currently owned by Timothy Russ and located within part of the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter, section 21, township 40 north, range 1 east, town of Eisenstein. Fire number is N15355 Woody Road.
Letters of notification were sent to Blake Spod, David and Carrie Lamont, Gerald and Amy Peterson, Philip and Carol Weinfertner, Scott Spencer, Timothy Russ, Bradley and Catherine Matter, Edward and Nicole Gessert, Mary Kay Malik, Ronald Drott, State of Wisconsin DNR, Patrick and Deborah Moonen, Bruce Lakin, James and Mary Adney, Patrick and Deborah Popejoy, Rory and Paula Botzler, Stephen and Deborah Schroeder, and Elizabeth Palachuk, the Town of Eisenstein clerk.
We didn't get any comments back on this one either.
Any other comments while the hearing is open? Okay, hearing none, I'll declare the hearing closed at 9:05. And we'll move on to agenda item number 4, which is the decision on special exceptions permit filed by Patrick and Deborah Moonen. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I will make the motion to approve.
Motion by Bob Kopish to approve, seconded
I'll second it.
Erickson. Second. Are there any comments?
I guess the question, the easement off that road would be 33 feet from center on that one?
I would assume most town roads are 4 rods. So, yeah.
So they're not within the easement, I
No,
guess.
they're outside of the easement or right away.
And we heard nothing back from that township, correct?
We didn't hear anything from Eisenstein.
Any other comments? Okay, there's a motion on the floor to approve. We'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is approved.
Alan, can we go back to, I think it was not so you can go, but Jason, did you vote yay or nay on the Kerner one? Your voice came across a little late and we just want to make it right for the minutes.
It was yay.
Yay. Okay. It was yay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Hmm? Yeah, we're gonna wait a little bit here. It's estimated time is 9:10 and it's 9:07. And it has to do with agenda item number 5. I move slowly when you're watching it. It's like watching water boil. Okay, the time is 9:10 and we'll open the hearing on a conditional use permit filed by Wheelway Auto Supercenter for the purpose of operating an auto body shop on property located within the first addition to Fifield Block 34, Section 7, Township 39 North, Range 1 East, Town of Fifield, with a fire number of N13957 Ridge Avenue.
Letters of notification were sent to Anthony and Veronia Engel, Dorothy Larson, Emily Fight, Jake Mann, Marjorie King, Preston and Christy Schurman, Stephen Klaman, Carol Zarling, Douglas King, Fifield Housing LM and LMT Part. Thank you. Joseph and Carla Bielefeld, Nicholas Mulcahy, Raymond Knutson, William Kazowitz, Christopher Hilgart, Edwin and Diane Border, Fifield Sanitary District, Kathleen Amour, Peter Seifert, Samantha Klein, Wheelway Auto Supercenter, and Angela Richardson, Town of Fifield Clerk.
We received one letter back stating, no, this use does not enhance a primarily residential area, signed Kathleen Amor. Amor, Amour,
Do you see it? Right side.
right side, four down.
Right there. Okay, gotcha. And could you repeat what she said?
Sure. States, no, this use does not enhance a primarily residential area.
Okay. All right, is there any other comments?
Evan, did the town weigh in on this at all?
No.
Nothing.
All right, I'm going to declare the hearing closed at 9:12 and open it up to agenda item number 6, which is the decision on conditional use permit filed by Wheelway Auto Supercenter. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Doug Erickson
I'll second.
to approve. Seconded by Michelle Drubnik. Now we'll open it up for discussion. The committee members,
Where is this location?
you know where the old high school was? Up on the hill?
Is that where they had the lawnmower races? The lawnmower races.
So is it's zone residential right now? Or not?
Zoned RR1. Right?
So this would change the zoning of this property?
No, it would be a conditional use permit. Currently, this property actually has a conditional use permit on file. When that structure was built, the previous owner got a conditional use permit for a woodworking shop.
This
It's-
is the same property?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so it's gonna go
That must have
into,
been 4 or 5 years ago.
No,
No?
two or three, not that long ago.
Yeah.
Not that long ago. Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
him and his son came in.
Yes.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
That's the guy that they wouldn't allow in Park Falls.
That I don't know.
Oh, there was a guy that was gonna do that Park Falls, they wouldn't.
In the city of Park Falls?
Huh?
In the city,
Right
I,
on the highway.
So were there some buildings that were being cleaned up, if I remember correctly?
it was vacant. It was a brand new structure.
But wasn't
I think you're thinking the one that was gonna do like Cerakoting, the young,
Oh,
the young
okay.
man.
Maybe I mixed
That was
up.
across the street from Wheelway.
Yes.
That was down that little side
That was
road.
on the east side of 13. This is on the west side of 13, up where they had the
I'm sorry, I
lawnmower
got
track.
mixed up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that Cerakote one was up northeast.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one's down here.
Why? It's a question. Why doesn't this building show up on here?
It wasn't built. Those are 2020s.
Oh, okay.
I
By
think
next
there's-
year, we should have new ones.
Okay.
If they're flying, they actually just
But
completed the flight.
These
a
are the
couple weeks
pictures of the
ago.
building?
That's a picture of the building, yeah. The building's pretty new. The guy that got the conditional use permit built the building after the conditional use permit was granted
Okay,
for the woodworking shop. That's why they're not on, like, when you look up there, you can't see the building because the photos
Well,
are
this
from
would be a lot
2020.
quieter than a woodworking shop, probably.
Yeah, I would. think.
are there any, he's doing an auto body, so they're gonna be painting. Are there any odor issues with body shops and painting and all that stuff?
Normally, they've got,
A stack.
auto body shops have the vented
Paint booth.
paint areas where
They clean the air
generally.
before it goes out.
Yeah, that's the ones I've seen.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I think technically the DNR and the EPA monitor that. They're supposed to follow certain rules. Whether or not they do or who enforces it, I'm not sure, but
You're right. So. Any other comments?
Yeah, so that's nothing we should be concerned about then. Nothing we have to do with that issue.
I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
one other thing I'll comment on, 2 doors down from there used to be a body shop, Rod Johnson. I don't know if it's permitted or not, but there was a body shop up there, like 2 doors down to the south.
Okay. All right, any other comments? Hearing none, there's a motion on the floor to approve. We'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, opposed, same sign. Okay, it's, the conditional use permit is approved. Right, that will, close hearings, so we're not subject to a time constraint or start. So we'll move on to agenda item number 7, which is a land division filed by Sandra Kilty to create one parcel in the town of Wooster.
So you'd have a copy of that in your packets. It's pretty straightforward land division. You can see on the air photos. The lot is approximately 1.5 acres that they're creating. It's got 300 feet of frontage on Old 13. Doesn't exceed that 4:1 length to width ratio. And it does not need a CSM because it's non-shoreland. So this one just be looking
there's
for
no
standard
issues?
approval. No issues, yeah.
So I'd be looking for a motion to approve. Anybody?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Bob Kopish. Seconded
I'll
by
second it.
Michelle Drobnik. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Evan, we've got these things in our packet.
Mhm.
And then we got this. And this doesn't, is this
This is for the next
That one, I
one.
think the one you're looking
a
at.
different one?
That's the Kirchmeier one. I believe.
Oh, okay, I'm getting confused here. So we're
The
dealing
Kilty.
with this one.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And there
And they-
should be
and they're dividing it this way?
No, that's,
That
that,
white line.
that is the white line's just a measurement showing 150.
So
Feet
they
to
are
the-
dividing it this way then, up and down?
The white line is just showing the distance from the lot line to the existing dwelling. They're
Okay.
dividing it on the red line is the new parcel.
So the whole red line is.
The entire red line, that
Okay.
336 by 200
Yeah,
is
okay.
the new parcel.
That's the whole, okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. Okay.
All right, there's a motion on the floor to approve. We'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Land division by Sandra Kilty is approved. Move on to agenda item number 8, which is the land division filed by Roy Kirchmeier on behalf of Charlie Kirchmeier to create one parcel, town of Amory.
So you also had a copy of this in your packet. And that one's got the drawing showing on the land division application. It's gonna be 500 by 523, which far exceeds the 1 acre minimum requirement. It's probably about come to about 6.5 acres, something like that. I can do the math, but, so, yeah, there's really no issues there either. It's got plenty of frontage on the public road. Doesn't need a CSM because it's not in shoreline.
Okay. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Bob. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll vote on the land division. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. That was Jason. Okay. Departmental reports.
You got a copy of the building permit numbers that have come in so far for 2025. The main thing I want to talk about on the report, we've got new floodplain ordinance we're looking at having to adopt. The DNR sent the draft and model for us. There's no.
Is that in the packet?
It's not in the packet. No, I just wanted to update on
This is
you.
a-
I will be bringing a draft ordinance to the
Floodplain.
June meeting. Be looking at a public hearing, most likely in July, and then August for adoption. I just wanted to update on you on that. And we've got a few other
Well,
ordinance.
that could be, something like that can start to become contentious at some point. Have
I
you-
wouldn't think it should be. We've got a floodplain ordinance. This changes some of the language in there. It doesn't have any substantial changes to the way it's regulated.
Okay, so none of the dimensions or where it is has changed.
I will bring a copy of when I bring the draft agenda, I'll bring the new one and the old one. And I'll highlight any changes, but it shouldn't change the way we regulate things.
All right.
It just brings us into compliance with NR 116 and the DNR.
That pretty much tells you if you're in a floodplain, you can't build on it, right?
That's the way it is currently. It doesn't change anything really. But currently our ordinance is outdated and it's not DNR certified for NR 116. So
So you'll be
we're
you'll be-
required to update it. And what we'd be looking to do at that point is rescind the current one and adopt the new one. It's a
So-
lot cleaner than making 200 changes throughout the ordinance.
Yeah.
And then we've got a few other tweaks in ordinances where rules have changed over the years, so we need to update them. And if we're gonna send out a register to all the towns, we'd like to do all the changes at once. So
So this is June, July activity?
it'd be June for draft ordinance to the committee, July for public hearing, and August board would be, that's my tentative timeline. So I just wanted to update you guys on that, so you see that
So
coming forward.
is the approval just this committee, or does that have to go to the full board?
So the process would be, I'd bring a draft ordinance to this committee in July, or in June. Public hearing at this committee in July, forwarded to county board in August would be for final approval, yeah,
Okay, so it does go to the full board.
correct. Any ordinance amendments go to the full board, any rezones go to the full board, which a rezone is technically an ordinance amendment.
Yeah, and then after the August board meeting, it's, I think, 21 days approximately before it actually takes effect. But
Something
you
like-
approve it, it's got to be posted for so many days. And then, so the goal would be by the end of August, early following month to be.
That's our
100%.
goal, and if it gets pushed back to.
And the
September
DNR is
county
tied
board.
up in this too, right?
Correct, yeah, the DNR is the one that
They
put the
get a
model
voice?
ordinance together. What's that?
Do they have a voice in the,
In what we approve?
yeah,
They're the ones that basically put the model ordinance out there, so they're not gonna say this isn't okay, because they're the ones that basically wrote the ordinance.
are they gonna show up at any of these hearings?
No,
No. Just wanna be prepared.
yeah, no, they won't. They might put some input out there and say, you need to adopt this. Similar to that NR 115 stuff where we have to have our shoreline ordinance say one thing. We have to have our floodplain ordinance say that same thing. Otherwise, If we don't have a compliant floodplain ordinance, none of our residents would be eligible for flood insurance. So,
Okay, anything else? How's the
That should
permit
be it.
schedule going up?
it's, they're
Nothing outstanding?
it's not crazy, but it's not slow. You know, we're busy enough, I guess. But generally permits seem to be trending down the past 2 or 3 years. We've had a lot of soil tests the past 3 weeks, but I think that's because road limits came off, so.
I was talking to one of the local plumbers and he said he's got all kinds of business and so he was optimistic about the trend. Just one person.
Yeah, plumbers are still really, really busy.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think that should be it.
All right, any questions for Amanda or Evan? No, we're good. Thank you. This portion of the meeting, hearing or committee meeting is adjourned. And we'll call the land conservation to order. Roll call will be the same. Is there any public comments? Anybody from the public? Star 6 if you wish to join. Okay, hearing none. Any communications from any member of the committee? Okay, hearing none. Department reports.
I don't have anything else new for this. Jason's working on contracts for the year. I'm working on finalizing all the snowmobile stuff for last year. We'll
You
get
gonna
that-
get some snow? You put. that-
Hopefully not this year yet.
Well, it's sure been hard. I
Yeah,
think we had a few days where we had snow.
I think the trails were open for 2-3 weeks, something like that. We were able to, the clubs were able to groom enough to get into supplemental payments, which really helps their funding a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, does that affect, if, the lack of conditions, does that affect their funding in any way?
Yes, so they need to spend, they get a certain contract amount, it's $300 a mile. In order to exceed that $300 a mile for maintenance and grooming, they need to spend 2/3 of their contract amount on specifically grooming. So they've got a lot of expenses, brushing, signage, trail reroutes, all that. They're not eligible for any expenses above that $300 a mile if they don't spend at least $200 out of their $300 a mile on grooming. So there is a formula in there where they can lose out on quite a bit of the money that they spend on
I
brushing
should say.
throughout the year. For non-grooming expenses, they're eligible for up to $250 per mile, which we normally hit every year between culverts, small bridge work, brushing.
So Jason's working on other,
He does like the land conservation stuff through the farmers and the fencing projects.
yeah. What about anticipated snowmobile work? Get involved in that at all? It's like bridges or whatever?
Yeah, he'll do like
Is it-
site surveys for bridges.
Yeah,
Yeah, and construction inspection. It's not a tremendous workload, but a couple, if we do 2 a year, got 30 hours total into multiple of them, but those we do get reimbursed for slightly.
And just to clarify, the money for snowmobiles and in and out, it is not like levy dollars, the little bit of Jason's work or your work to
My work, that's the
manage
only
it.
actual contribution that
But
we
it's
have
not-
towards it.
We're not taking county funds and doing it.
Correct.
We
No,
ha- we
there
are
are
the
no, there are no
pass-through,
county
yes.
funds that go towards that, the program itself, other than our time, but
Evan, on that $300 a mile, you said they got to spend $200.
you have to spend $200 of that 300 on grooming to be eligible for anything above the 300.
Above the 300.
So we get 300, the clubs get 300 automatically.
What was the 250 you mentioned?
That's the cap on non-grooming expenses.
Okay,
So
So out of that 300, they can spend up to 250 on non-grooming?
Additional.
Kind of.
Well, that's why I'm trying to figure this out.
Okay, so if they spend 200 on grooming,
Yep,
then they can spend a max of 250 on non-grooming.
okay,
So
because
let's say on
now they
average,
can go over the 300.
let's say on average, they spent $500 a mile per mile in Price County divvied out. Only 250 of that can be on non-grooming, but they could still spend that 500 and get reimbursed for it as long as at least $200 per mile was spent on grooming.
And
that
not
makes
more than
sense.
250.
And not more than 250 on non-grooming. And with a cap of $900 per mile total.
Oh,
So
a bad winter, they could.
theoretically, if we had a pile of snow,
Yeah.
they could spend $650 on grooming per mile and
And two-
$250 on non-grooming.
Okay, gotcha.
We've never hit that $900 cap. Some counties do.
Even 2 years
Up in
ago
this-
when we had all that snow, they never hit that, huh?
I've never seen, we run into the 250 issue on non-grooming expenses because there's a lot of brushing and stuff that needs to happen. But like Vilas County and some of those counties up there do hit that $900 cap, you know, if they're in the snow belt and every year they get a lot of snow. But
Do the ATV clubs get anything?
you'd have to ask Fred about the
Okay.
specifics on that. Fred does the ATV stuff,
Okay,
but I don't know what it is. They're not quite as well oiled of a machine as the Snowmobile Association though. So.
okay, thank you.
Okay, and if there's nothing else, this portion of the committee meeting is adjourned. And we'll move on to minutes from the March 20th meeting. Everybody had a chance to read them? And I'd be looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Michelle Brodnick approves the minutes. Is there a second? Doug Erickson. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. And the vouchers are going around. Okay, we'll, let's see, we're gonna need a motion to approve the vouchers. Yeah. So we should have everybody look at them.
Did you see it?
I'll make a motion to approve them
Well, we gotta,
when it goes through.
yeah, all right. We're way ahead of schedule.
Well, I had them first. It's a long walkway over by you guys. I'm on my island over here.
Boy, first you're too short, now you.
I know. It's hard being me.
Yeah, I can second them now.
Wine.
Did you bring me cheese?
Cheese. Cheese. Okay. Yeah. How's it going? Are you allowed to sit up here? Personal, 6 feet.
No boundaries. Look, a hand up.
Mr. Carpet, how are you? I'm so well.
I think.
Do you want to report, Larry? Let's see what extension is up to. Yes. Awesome. You're at home, I don't have friends, but I have a bunch.
Did you find two?
Yeah, there's some back here. The last page of this purple one here.
Okay.
got it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
All right. There's
Wait a
a,
second.
I, s-
Do you have
I got a
on that
second
motion?
for, yeah, Doug. So there's a motion to approve the vouchers and a second. Is there any questions? Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Vouchers are approved. So now we'll open the UW Extension portion of the committee meeting.
You missed number 3.
June 19th, is that good for everybody?
Well, that's fine.
Is
So
that,
June 19th is, but then we've got July.
yeah, we gotta go 2 months out.
They're all on the calendar. It's just if you want to announce that that's when they're going to be. Yeah.
Everybody, that calendar is handy, you know, it's just kind of,
It is,
yeah,
just now we gotta cancel meetings. Time to figure it out.
right.
It's easier than trying to schedule around everybody.
You got it. Otherwise you have those conflicts.
Okay, I'll call the UW Extension to order. Roll call is be the same. Let's see here.
Yeah. Evan, anything new on that issue I contacted you about? Send me the letter. DNR? On Butternut Lake there, yeah. Nothing? Haven't heard anything? From DNR? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I know they had a court thing, they're not long yet.
Yeah. Okay, just let me know. Thanks. Lake Association?
No,
Oh, that, their association. Yeah.
that'd be ideal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Should be noted that Rachel Hoffman is of attendance. Amber Rayberg is here, and Larry Bivis is here.
All these people.
Okay.
That's like so excited.
Wow. And you're still within budget.
She didn't respond. That's okay.
No response. to it.
Sure are.
There you go. Use your microphone so we won't hear you.
Okay, is there any public comment? Hearing none, any communications from any member of the committee? All right. Agenda item number 3 would be memorandum of understanding between UW Madison Division of Extension and Price County.
So this one has been put on the agenda. This is something that was worked on late last year, third quarter last year. It just never came to the committee through Art. We had some transition with Art. So this is the updated document that the UW Extension and the counties are using to kind of give us guidance on what when we're recruiting, what the roles of each area is, each group of individuals. So it's just an updated document from past document. This is what WCA, their steering committee, was working on. This is the committee I sat on. So it took about a year. We worked with the dean of students, or Dean Carl Martin, and then his staff to come up with this document. I will say
How come it
everything.
wasn't in the packet?
I will say everything that is outlined here is how we've been working with UW Extension here. So this isn't going to change, when we recruit or how we recruit.
How come it never made it to the packet?
When it's in the packet now.
You said
Oh, it's not in the packet?
No, we don't have it.
Oops.
No.
We can postpone until next.
Yeah,
if
can
you
you
want.
put that on the next agenda?
Sure. I thought it was in the packet, so.
We have two documents.
Thank you.
We have the overall MOU and then we have a separate contract.
Yeah, so we have the contract that we sign every year, and this one's replacing, was it called?
The partnership document.
That's the
From-
overriding document for the
Yeah, there was like
relationship.
so the contract, this just really gives a little bit more clarity around some. It like puts some specifics, which there had been a partnership document that Extension had created. And so in a way to work closer with the counties, this MOU is like both of them working together, taking from both the contract and the partnership document and making sure that both parties, the language aligns with what is needed.
And then we have a separate contract for the services that
Yeah.
we're using.
Correct. That's every December we sign.
That's
That's
pre-
like what you owe, how we pay.
Otherwise, the overriding document will transcend the short-term contracts, the yearly contracts until you change it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, so that's, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we can, if you want to postpone this till the next one. I thought we had put it in the,
Okay,
I gave it to.
I'll motion
The
to
packet.
postpone to our June meeting. Is that appropriate?
Okay. Motion by Bob Kopish, seconded by Doug Erickson to postpone any actions that could be taken on the MOU to June. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, agenda item number 4, extension educator highlight reports, 4-H educator. Good morning.
All right. Yeah, now you can hear me. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I want to introduce to you Caitlin Schultz, who is one of our 4-H summer interns. So you've heard me for the last 9 months talk about trying to get an AmeriCorps member. And so we searched and searched, we talked to people and it wasn't happening, didn't happen. And then all of a sudden in the last week, it happened. And we had Caitlin lined up to be in Price and Taylor County. And then they cut AmeriCorps. And then the 4-H into the PYD, Positive Youth Development Institute director and the dean and some other people made it happen, found the money to transfer the people that, because there were 30 of them across the state that we had already made commitments to. So they found a way to have them for this summer. So I was like, yeah, we'll take her. So Caitlin is here. She joins us. She was a Lincoln County 4-H member for 13 years. She's very familiar with the Spirit Hill Ogama 4-H fair, that she's been a part of that for, I'm going to say virtually all your life. Yeah, pretty close. And so she is familiar, and she's a freshman. She just finished her freshman year at UW Stevens Point in she's majoring in graphic design, and we are thrilled to have her. She started on May 19th. Well, we have a summer intern that we started working on back in December that we hired in February, and she will actually start June 2nd. So you'll hear me talk about some things that we've got going this summer that would not be possible without having these two people here. So huge thanks to that, all of that for happening. Thank you guys for funding our regular summer intern position. And I will tell you, it is not costing you anything extra to have this second intern this time, because the adult leaders are picking up the cost for the matching part of that, and Taylor County is picking up the mileage piece of that. So you're benefiting from another person, and I think it's going to be great for Price County 4-H. So the first thing on here, I talk about Park Falls YMCA paper airplane engineering. It's like, what in the world? So after school, the YMCA at Park Falls have been doing I've done several different programs. Some of them we did our Lego robotics. We did cake in a mug. We did the 3 doodler pens. And then the last one that we did this spring was paper airplane engineering, where the kids learned how to make 3 different kinds of, I say paper airplanes loosely because the first one is a tube that looks nothing like a paper airplane, nor does it fly like a paper airplane. It spins and does flips and that kind of stuff. Then they do a push glider. Then we do the dart glider. But we talk about all the ways that, engineering and what it's about, making minor modifications, and how if something doesn't work right, you try something else, which is a great life lesson for all of us. So paper airplane engineering, that partnership with the YMCA has been really good, and you'll hear me talk about it just a little bit later as well. 4-H shooting sports went really well this spring. At our Project Fun Day, Ed Ulrich, who has been the archery leader here in Price County for many years, did a couple of sessions, and we had 12 different kids, really enjoyed it there. Then we offered 6 weeks of archery and, well, actually that's not correct. 4 weeks of archery, but twice a week, and then 6 weeks of pellet rifle. And so kids are getting some more opportunities there. We also were able to host the one of the statewide instructor trainings. So even though there are lots of people who have been through hunter safety or certified as trainers and other things, because of the liability insurance that 4-H has, we require approved volunteers to go through the shooting sports training. Well, they vary that around the state, and they go north, south, and then they switch east, west. Anyway, every other year we have it here in Phillips. And so this was a year that we had it. We thought we were going to do part of the archery part in the armory, and due to a mix-up, I didn't realize what time I needed to pick up the key. But I in a panic, called Rachel Hoffman and said, I know that Ed's used that old school building for archery. Is there any chance that it's available this weekend? She said, I'll meet you there in 5 minutes. Within 15 minutes, problem solved. I had a key. We were ready to go. The guy that runs the program said, this is a fabulous situation. And he's like, oh, this is great because, we used to go out to the fairgrounds, which was nice, but we didn't always have water hooked up. We had to get a generator, so we had porta potties out there. It was colder, so this allowed some different options. So we very much appreciated the support there as well. So shooting sports has gone pretty well this spring, so appreciated that. The next page, you'll see the YQCA training, and that stands for the Youth Quality Care of Animals. And each of the youth that are enrolled in the market animal part of the sale, market animal sale portion, are required to take that training each year. They get a 1-year certificate, and they can either do it online, which is fine. It's set by grade level then, and it rotates and stuff, and that's good. But some of them prefer to do it in person. And so they have a 3-year rotation on that, but it includes all of the ages. And it's a scripted program. It has to be an hour long. They give you the complete slide deck. You've got to sign your waiver saying you'll destroy it after the sessions or after the year is over, all of this kind of stuff. But anyway, we had several youth show up for that and get trained. It's a neat thing because it goes through and talks about food safety as well as taking care of your animals, and it talks about life skills. So there's 3 different portions of that. So I got to teach that back in April. Project Fun Day we had, again, went super well. We worked with the Prentice School on that for a number of years, and just a great space. We had about 45 youth, probably another 25-ish parents were there. Because if they're in that K to 2, K to 2nd grade, we really just need other adults there to help them out with some of those projects. we had great feedback, and I really should have put that in there. But I mean, one of them said it was an awesome day. Another person said this was the best one we've ever been to. I don't know, but they enjoyed it. It was a good day. We had a lot of volunteers that helped make that happen, from serving lunch to registration to teaching our class sessions. And so that was really a good day working with Prentice Fair. Down at the bottom, you'll see the statewide distance learning program. I don't know if we've really talked about that before, but it's something that started back in COVID. It's like, okay, we can't really get together. How can we offer the opportunity? So they started doing some of these sessions online. I know we had one, there's been a number of them through the years, but recently there's been, it was like, okay, once we were back in meeting, it's like we still have some kids that are interested in things that each county only has 1 or 2 kids that are enrolled in that. And it's really hard to plan an event for or a training for 1 or 2 kids. But when you take that times the 70 plus counties in Wisconsin, now you have 70 something kids that are interested in it, 70 to 150. So this distance learning has still, it's somewhat limited, but there's several options. And recently we had one of our youth that went through the chocolate chip cookie thing. So they can do it from home. They're on camera. They can be in their own, in this case, they're in their own kitchen using their own tools. That's a great way to learn. So that's what statewide distance learning program is about. And it's not just foods programs. I mean, we had one on forensic science. There was one recently on unicorns and something else. And it was like, what's that about? But all kinds of interesting stuff. Then just a few quick things that I want to mention to you that are not on my report, but back on May the 14th, I went to Phillips for their parent outreach that they had. They had about 40 families that had signed up to come. I don't know what their actual number was. It was a rainy, dreary day. It like kind of downpoured at points, but we were inside, so it was fine. But I went there and took the 3 doodler pens. So kids had an activity to do. And what their whole goal was letting parents know the resources that are available in and around Phillips. Did I describe that pretty accurately? And so there was like the health department was there, DNR, some different groups like that were there. And then when I think about it, that DNR might not have been at that one. That was the next 2 days later when I was at a different program, sorry. But anyway, I took the 3 doodler pens, and so we had kids doing that, during which time I had our day camp flyers and would talk to the parents and go, okay, we've got 4 different locations on 4 different dates. We're doing these kind of 6.5 hours of outdoor supervised activities, lunch, a couple of snacks are included. And it's only going to cost you $10. And they were like, ooh, that's a good deal. So had a chance to make some connections with people, also had a chance to connect with the lady that does their after school program. And so we're going to be looking at doing some things next year with that. 2 other things, and then I'll sit down. But Prentice, we have a couple of dates scheduled with them, and this is where extra help comes in. We're going to be they have their summer school, but it finishes up around noon, so they're looking for some additional activities in the afternoon. So we're going to be doing a Lego robotics for about an hour and a half, 2 different days down there. And I know that we've already got 15 kids signed up for one of the sessions, 12 at the other. We're going to turn around and do the same type of thing up at Park Falls. We thought that we were going to be doing 4 days, and so we'd be able to go really in depth. But then we found out that they have 80 kids enrolled. So what they're planning on doing is splitting that up into groups of 20, and we'll see on Monday, we'll see one group, Tuesday will be a different group, and they'll be broken up like that. But another opportunity for us to share some STEM type activities and 4-H type project. During the summer, I've got a lot of day camp, summer camp, libraries, fairs, all of that going on. And you will have to wait until the next time I see you to hear my report on what happened on all of those. But any questions?
I would have some comments. I noticed that you got involved with the YMCA in Park
Right.
Falls. Do you
Yes.
see any future use for that organization and to help you?
Say that one more time.
Well, you got involved with the YMCA in Park
Right.
Falls. Now, that must have been a first.
So we started it, I think last fall was when we started working with the
Just
YMCA.
opened.
Right, but they were doing the after-school program at Park Falls for a while.
It was kind of a.
That's where this.
Yeah, it was a collaboration between their after-school program and the YMCA. So I have not actually been at their facility
Oh,
yet.
okay. I just hope that.
But that
you
will
can-
happen.
You can utilize that in the future because that's a
Right.
great resource.
Me
The other
too.
thing that I noticed is that in the Project Fund Day with STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, I'm high on that particular topic, and I encourage you to somehow stimulate the curiosity of kids in those fields. It's so important.
Thank you for your support on that because that's one I absolutely love. So, yeah.
Very good. All right.
The problem solving and all of that goes with that.
It's wide open fields.
It is. And it's not just career. It is career, and there are a ton of careers in that. But it's also just basic life skills that kids need, even if they choose not to go that path. So,
Right. Well,
Right.
thank you, Julie. All right.
thank you.
And welcome, Caitlin. Okay,
Alan, just for the record, Mr. Hastings did leave the meeting at 9:45, so it'll be reflected in the minutes.
you got that? Okay. Let's see here. Food, Wendy?
Go ahead, I'll follow you.
Oh, okay, okay, good.
Health and
Okay,
wellbeing.
so I've been in the schools as usual at this time of year. We've been having some really good classes, really good students and teachers. I'm just always so impressed when I go into our Price County schools. So I just wanted to add that. So I was in the Phillips second grades. We finished up our series there. Some of the comments that the kids have, I always give kids a lot of time to interact and ask questions. And really, even at second grade, I'm always kind of surprised and impressed too at some of the knowledge that they want to have or that they already know. But just little things that make me realize some of what we do, they may not be getting somewhere else, or they may be getting not the full information. For instance, I had one comment on here about Gatorade. Kids drink Gatorade all the time. You know, that's fine. You know, we call it a sometimes food if you're really, really exercising for over an hour and you're really hot. Okay, we don't, you know, it's not that you can never have Gatorade. But for instance, one of the kids said, but why shouldn't I drink Gatorade like throughout the day? Isn't that good for me? Like, so he just thought, even if he wasn't exercising, just Gatorade, it's a healthy drink. Why shouldn't I be having that? So some of those little comments make me really realize, okay, maybe we're not changing somebody's life overall. We're not going to see them one day and the next day, wow, you know, they're a different person. They're so improved. But I think some of these little things that the kids say and some of those things that come up really do kind of strike me as, yeah, there is value to what we're doing in these classrooms. I also had the Prentice first grade. We don't normally go into the first grade, and the Prentice teachers wanted, she was doing a nutrition unit and she felt like she needed something extra. I mean, I'm sure the teachers are all capable of doing nutrition, but it's one more thing that maybe they don't have to have quite as much knowledge and resources when we go in there. So for instance, Prentice, we do the second grade, the 4K, but she knew that we didn't do a series in the first grades, but if I could just come in and kind of supplement and do some reinforcements of what she was doing, because she didn't just feel like she had quite, you know, the resources that we do. So that was a real good class or group of classes there too. Park Falls Elementary, we did the two 4K groups there. We've been doing them for quite a few years, and we've been in the 4K, and those teachers are always really supportive and always, checking to make sure we're coming back the following year. We also had in Park Falls, let's see, Head Start. I'm still in Head Start. We'll be finishing that up this week. They'll be coming back to Phillips, I believe, next fall. Strong Bodies, we finished at Charles Hill Villa. We went into the Tai Chi then from Strong Bodies to Tai Chi, and that has been positive. We did lose some participants due to some other, for being senior citizens that are retired, this group is busier than most, and some of them had conflicts with golf or different things. So we did lose some, but we've had some good results, I guess you'd say, or people are feeling good about it that have been doing it. One even purchased the Tai Chi DVD so she could continue practicing once we end that class. That one is strictly for, the one that we do is arthritis prevention, and then we also add nutrition into it. So it's not strictly just here's your nutrition in one class, here's your activity in the other. It's kind of, looking at overall wellness in there. We just had a Price County Health and Wellness Coalition, and we're talking about opportunities for the summer events. The coalition does some events to promote not only the coalition, but just healthy lifestyles in general. I have some plans underway we were talking about the YMCA, and last year we did the gardening, which was the cooperative between the school and the YMCA up in Park Falls, and we did a youth gardening. So they were hoping to have that again. So we're working on doing that. Back to the coalition, we also talked about the YMCA has a really nice kitchen in there, and they asked if we could collaborate with them on some things in their kitchen. So hopefully we will be able to use the facility for different things in the future. They also have their different community rooms in there that can be used for other things if you haven't been in there. So I don't know how that works, but it seems like there is, space for things to happen in there. So yeah, that's about, mostly school, some of the seniors with the wellness, and that was about my work. Anybody have any questions?
I would have a question. It seems like there's a federal focus on food dyes, colored dyes in food.
Yeah.
Is anything fallen down that you could relate to, or?
Yeah, and we've always talked about that with the kids. We'll look at the food labels and show the kids, look, there's this red dye number 2, and so we've actually talked about that for a long time. So that's one thing that is positive that I think, is good that they're.
A lot of those dyes are gonna come out.
Right, which is great, I think. If there's the less we have of that, the better. So, yeah. So, and there's, Terry can talk a little bit more about some of the other.
Yeah, did you have any more questions for
No.
Wendy?
Anybody else? All right, thanks, Wendy.
Great. Yep, thank you.
Awesome. So you'll notice in your packet, there's a little overview of SNAP-Ed in the packet, and this one was prepared by our statewide program evaluation folks. And in this, you'll just really notice that as Wendy's been coming and reporting and doing her written reports and doing her programming here in Price County, it's completely in alignment with what other folks are doing across the state in our SNAP-Ed FoodWise programs. And so what you'll see here is just a little snippet of some of the outcomes, some of the major themes in terms of, what are the impacts that are happening as a result of the programming that we're doing. So, Wendy talks about some of the local impacts in the classroom, that are happening with the kiddos, with the adults. Well, we have a way of capturing what is actually happening as a result of our program here locally as well as statewide, to just be able to say, oh yeah, we are making a difference, right? And there is value. And I think overall, some of the sort of the major emphasis around the programming we do is not talked about, and that is that chronic disease prevention. So as we start early, with the kiddos and the kiddos' parents to talk about some of these healthier choices, lifestyle choices, we do hope and we do see over time, that there is some evidence that there's lifestyle changes that could mean that folks are less and less being diagnosed with some of these chronic conditions that are definitely due to lifestyle and lifestyle behaviors. So that's a part of, kind of that overall picture that sometimes we forget to talk about. We have some local impacts that are really awesome, but, the bigger impact, we really do want to impact community health and individual health. And we want to have people live healthier lifestyles and have access to healthier foods and physical activities that help contribute to healthier lifestyles. So, our goals here in Price County, to work with the coalitions, to partner with the various schools, the Head Starts, the ADRCs, to help kind of move some of these things forward, because we can't do it alone, right? So a lot of our work is done in partnership both here and across the state. So I just wanted to call your attention to this little piece of information. There's so much more that's out there, but we've been encouraged by many folks to just like that we often use too many words, right? And our reports are too long. So this is just a little snapshot of how we connect with that statewide, larger issues. So any questions for me then? I do want to mention that I have just submitted our plan of work, our work plan for FY26. So at the county levels, we are required to do our kind of local program, our local plan, which includes our budget and the kind of work that we intend to do and who we are partnering with to do that work. And this is for that federal fiscal year, which starts October 1st. So I have submitted that for the 8 counties that I serve, and it is now been compiled with the state, and it is in the hands of the DHS, Department of Health Services office, which is the fiscal agent for the SNAP Ed programs here in Wisconsin. So that is where it is right now. I'm not sure if you have heard, but there is in the budget, in the federal budget right now, there is a effort to completely eliminate the SNAP Ed programs nationwide. So just wanted to make you aware of that. We are moving forward. We're continuing to do the good work that we can do for as long as we possibly can. And we are, waiting and wondering what that might look like come October 1st for our fiscal year. The plans are in place, and we shall see where that goes. So any questions for me?
Any questions? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Agenda item number 6, Reality Fair.
I speak so loud, I feel like, whew, who needs a microphone? Oh, did you miss number 5, Alan? Or do you want to go to 6?
Oh,
Bruce is here.
okay.
We're excited.
I did miss it.
He's been waiting.
I did miss it. I'm sorry. Horticultural specialist.
You did. But we are really fortunate, and we've been talking about Bruce utilizing some of our office space as he lives in the area, but I thought a chance for you to meet him and just kind of hear about the scope, right? I think sometimes we're really focused on our local programming, which is really important, but Price County also benefits, and you'll see that in your packet with other statewide, right? We have a statewide cranberry specialist who's doing some work and some geologists and other things. So Bruce is really a part of that specialist team that, you know, reaches all the counties. And so we're fortunate to have him, and I thought he could just share more.
So you're the fellow that we've been housing here for quite a while.
Yeah, that's correct.
We got a face to the position. Well,
Yeah. So I'm part-time. I'm a state outreach specialist in horticulture. My main focus areas are content for the program. So one of the big projects I'm working on right now is we have, there's a spreadsheet of 700 and some fact sheets online that I'm updating. And I think I'm on number 18 right now. So I'll be doing that for a while. But I'm doing things with Plant Healthcare, which we have on our website. There's a what's called Ask Your Gardening Question. So anybody in the state can enter their question, and the first thing they put on there is what county you're from, so we can track it that way. But people have questions. If they have problems, they can upload photos, and then we have a team that looks at them. Some are volunteers, some are state staff, and then we get back to them. We also have Ask Your Gardening Live. We do once a month. We just did it this past Monday, where we have a panel of our UW specialists, you know, entomologists, pathologists, that type of thing. And people submit questions, and it's a discussion format. So we do that. I do a weekly column, gardening column, that is on our website. It's also in, I think right now, about 35 papers statewide. The local ones here would be right now Lakeland Times out of Minocqua, and the Iron County Miner out of Hurley, I think, are the two closest ones. So that's another thing we do a lot of, you know, obviously media. You can reach a lot of people through the website along with our fact sheets. And then I do get questions that come in, you know, people that come in the Price County office. Like there's a guy last week that came in, I happened to be there, and, you know, I'll answer that I'm not county funded. I am state funded. I'm not a county position, but certainly people come in and I'm there, I'll gladly help them. So he had a bunch of pictures on his phone of his tree that had a bunch of issues, so I tried to help him with that. So yeah, I'm in the building there. I appreciate the opportunity. I do live in Park Falls, so having, you know, being close by, having an office is great. The people are great to work with in that office and that building. So any questions you have for me?
What was you mentioned a website. What is that?
Yeah, the horticulture, UW horticulture. If you just Google UW horticulture extension, that'll come up, but it's hort.extension.wisc.edu. So what you'll see on there is a bunch of like tabs across the top. The Ask a Gardening Question is there. The weekly column is there. And then down the side, there's all the topics listed, like fruit crops, house plants, lawns, trees. In each of those, then you can access all our publications. We have a number of videos on there too, instructional videos, that type of thing.
Okay, so it's hort.extension.wis.edu.
Edu. Yeah.
All right. And you live in Park Falls, and you office in the normal building here.
Yeah, I'm in that corner office in the hallway.
And could you state your name again?
Sure. The first name is Bruce. Last name is Spangenberg. It's spelled about 8 different ways, so I'll spell it for you. It's SP as in Peter, ANGENBERG.
Okay, well, we hope that we've been taking care of your housing needs here.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. And if somebody busts in, you try to help them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great. Okay. All right. Any questions for Bruce? No? All right. We'll try to find more work for you. Now we could go to the reality fair with.
Yeah, I mean, I think we gave, you know, Rachel and I gave an update at the last meeting that we're looking at the fall. So as soon as the school year wraps up, I will be meeting with the teachers and we'll get that date set. So hopefully we'll have the date on people's calendars here in the next, I would say the next meeting. Hopefully we can have that date and then start recruiting volunteers.
That's the hard part. Are you anticipating having students from all 3 school systems, or just?
I mean, I think our original plan was to kind of, when we thought about spring and trying to do it really quickly, then we knew that Phillips was our only option. We will definitely reach out to the other schools, and once we pick a date and see if that works, then they'll be invited. But I think for our pilot, we're kind of focusing on here in order to build out a strong program. And so, I mean, our goal is to be countywide. But I think sometimes when you start something back and we have a new curriculum we'll be using, we want to do that well. I want to do that well. And I have 7 counties. So I also want to be realistic about the amount of time that I can do it well. So
Historically, it was a great program, I
think so,
think.
too.
And as I remember, we had all 3 school systems. And I hope you don't get lined up in the fall, because it seems to me that the spring is that you're looking for, for not this time, but the next times for in the future years. In spring, you're looking towards graduation, and you're going to go out and, the seniors are going to go into the world of life, real life. And in the fall, they're just looking forward to another school system, a school year. So the spring would be a preference as far as I'm concerned.
I think that gets to be difficult with all the activities that do happen in the spring. Like I'm thinking of April and May within our school system, and it gets harder to coordinate dates just because there's a lot of field experiences, sports, those kinds of things.
The reality fair, they're being launched.
I think it depends on
Alan,
the grade level too.
Yeah, I don't know that we did it with seniors,
Oh.
Alan, when I was here the last time. I think sometimes we focused on either like the sophomore class is what we had kind of looked at. So then, and we're building it out with a new curriculum that the school is also having so that it'll continue to be reinforced in the class that they have ongoing. So, I think it's still the launching idea that you have is kind of what we're thinking as well, but it really launches into that curriculum that they'll be getting with the 2 teachers throughout the school year. And maybe there will be a way even to continue, like we can bring some community members. And Nick and I have had lots of conversations. One and done events are they can be powerful, right? Like kids come in, it's this really exciting day. It starts to change ideas and perceptions. That I think the other beauty of that event is the community is involved. So it's like these people care about our future and our financial future. And so there's so much value in it, but it also like the deep learning that you want them to have may take some different conversations. So maybe bringing people in, some of those individuals who help with the one day kind of, or the couple of hour event later on in the course to teach specifically about investing or about saving or those kind of things. So we're thinking, know that we are thinking and planning, and the curriculum we're using and hoping to build out will hopefully hit on some of the things you want, but even maybe have a more impactful than what we were able to do in the past.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But thank you. And if you have other, in terms of timing, if you have other ideas, but Rachel really felt with the school calendar, there's testing and other things in the spring as well. And so just really felt like fall might be just an easier time to work it in for educators around what they all have to do. So.
And as we look to partner with other school districts, that personal financial literacy requirement is new for our freshman class right now. And so some school districts are choosing to have the course that students need to take be a sophomore or junior or senior level course. So it'll be, when we look at, do we want this to be a precursor to get the kids thinking so that they can do that more in-depth study when they head into that course? Or do we want them to take the course and then have that real life kind of get ready for the real world, folks, kind of experience? And that's information from the other school districts that I don't have yet. But that would definitely play into what grade level of students we work with, because we want it to complement. And like Amber said, do we want this to feed them into that more intensive learning? Do we want them to have the intensive learning and then have this application practice? So it could go either way. And I think it's just more conversations with the other schools too, especially if we're including them in that day, to make sure that it's meeting our needs and that it's meaningful for the kids.
I recollect that when I went to high school, that was a long time ago, that we had a course and I took it. It was called business administration. Are you still is there still business administration offered? Because it seems like this activity is taking its place.
There's a lot of business courses offered. So a lot of dual credit courses. So, I don't know specifically what each school has, but I would say if people are looking to go into business, there's some facet of business administration
So it's
that's
covered.
embedded within those business course standards.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Anything else, Amber?
And not about the reality fair.
Anything else? Any questions for Amber? All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 7, which is the Area Extension Director update.
Yeah, so that is that's me. And I think really I was talking to Amanda this morning. We met at the water fountain, and I was like, oh, I just always struggle to think about what am I gonna what should I share? What do I need to share? What will help you? And I think, you know, Terry touched on it a little bit. I think one of the beauties of extension is the partnership that we have, federal, state, and local. I think it is a unique way to be funded, and it allows us to really think about the needs broadly that our local community, but the state and also the nation, right? We can collaborate and work together to meet needs. And if done well, that's the intent, is this whole co-op, right? We used to be cooperative extension and this idea. And so it is definitely a wonderful model. And when times shift and finances become really tough with budgets, right? Both local, state, and federal, then it also just creates some differing, right? Like shifting within that. So we are watching those budgets closely, or others are. I guess that's something I'm really focusing on the programming we're doing and the relationships we're building, but there are people within the system. And so we do anticipate as we head into budget season that there could be some federal impacts that we may not have seen in the past. State and local dollars have been challenging for a while, but I think the federal situation is raising just some things to watch and be aware of as we work with our staff. So I'll keep you posted as we know more. Obviously the budget hasn't been passed, but there are definitely discussions around some funds that will impact extension and the kind of services that we're able to offer locally.
All right, Amber, any questions for Amber?
Is that your report?
That's my report. Did you?
There's some pages in here that.
Yeah, so you'll notice,
I got a question on this navigator stuff.
Gonna
cover this?
I can cover that. Yeah, I just included, so we have a reporting system that educators report their work into, and then I'm able to pull from that report. And when I pull for Price County, any kinds of extension programming, you know, Bruce talked about it a little bit, that has been reported that is connected to Price County. So either statewide or other things comes up in that report that I pull. So I just included those because when I pulled the report for the last couple of months, these were some of the things that came up. And so I thought it might be nice, I think, again, you know, we know what happens locally. You get to hear from our educators, but there are also other extension resources that are happening within the community, other specialists and others. And so those digital health navigators are also a part of extension now. That was within the last couple of years that ended up coming under extension because it really was meant to help support individuals and communities around health insurance. And so they cover an area and they would meet in counties and reach out, but a resource available to anyone. So your question, Bob, about that.
Well, I serve on the Northwest SEP board up in Ashland, out of Ashland, and they provide navigator services also. And I'm reading this, and we were told we got $300,000 this fiscal year. Next year they're cutting it to 30, and so you know that's going to create an issue with us being able to provide services. And I wonder if that's because of this. This is new to extension?
Yeah, well, so that program has been covering Wisconsin.
Well, we got 10 counties with SIP.
Yeah,
Okay.
and covering Wisconsin, which is that program that's listed there, has been going on for years. So that's not, it just, the management or support of it just came under the extension umbrella, right? That was an administrative move. However, I will share with you what you just shared about that situation.
Yeah.
Is also this situation for covering Wisconsin.
So
Their budget was
I shouldn't
also,
be hitting you up for more money.
We don't have any more than you have. It sounds like in general, we were probably both utilizing the same pot and different areas were being
Well, that's what
served
it sounds
by
like.
it.
There's overlap. If you're
There could
providing
have
these
been.
services and they're providing the services, and they're important services, as people lose their job
Absolutely.
or whatever the issue is and they don't have health insurance, this is the bridge to get them from here to there.
Yep. And and when we hear stories of people who have utilized those services, super impactful.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
I mean-
I'm concerned that people aren't
Mhm.
going to have this available to them. That's my concern.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
I think it's a
is there
legitimate
a
concern.
collaboration here on how we can make sure we get enough funding?
Let me look into that and see. I wasn't aware that SEP was doing the same thing. So I think that's good information for me, just in understanding it. And so let me do a little bit of research,
Okay.
Bob, and see if there is something we can do.
Okay. Let me know.
Yeah, I will.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Great question.
Okay. Thank you. UW Extension Financial Report and Vouchers. We approved these already, didn't we?
They were all in this packet.
Yeah, okay.
So we're done. Yeah.
Okay, I guess nothing, we've exhausted our agenda, so this committee meeting is now adjourned at 10:25.